Yeah, great. It was great introduction. So we are at Angular Renaissance, which is a title of this presentation. Are you aware of the word Renaissance? What does it mean?
History in the world.
Yeah, like Renaissance is like a Middle Age kind of term where there was.
It's the rediscovery of lost knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to put it.
You look that up. Cheating.
She probably wrote
Yeah.
a Python script for that. All right, great. So yeah, and we are at a stage right now where Angular kind of, getting in a better position as a comparison where it's been for recent years, because there was a couple of things, for me, it's great framework, right? But if you compare it with others framework for the recent years, you can say, oh, too complex, oh, like this is like kind of why we need this, why we need. I'll mention lots of these things during the presentation, but yeah, now it kind of aligns with like everyone's expectation, and it's based on users' feedback, really. Like it's not just, hey, let's make Angular looks like React, or let's make Angular looks like whatever. It's not the goal. It just advanced and innovated based on users' feedback. That's the thing. So yeah, today we talk about Angular recent past, Angular today. And before we start, let me introduce myself. This is actually my second time to Brisbane. I used to join GDG Brisbane in May. I think it was early May. Anyone been around that event? All right, so I was talking Angular 16, and now it's Angular 17. So yeah, I'm involved I'm also representing Angular Consulting, which kind of what I do. We provide in advisory, engineering, training, innovations. So there's a couple of brochures. Feel free to grab and see what we do in more details later, or scan this QR code. So yeah, I also involved in various networks and communities. Some of those logos you might be familiar with. Involved into events, organizing GDG Sydney, baking cakes. This is a real cake, actually. Yeah, it was like Angular release party December 4th, around a year ago. And yeah, baked that one. I mean, I haven't baked it myself, but yeah.
You didn't make it.
I did make it myself. Someone else made it, but yeah, it was real cake. Yeah. So yeah, I'm also speaking at events. This is from Web Directions earlier this year. And also I'm teaching tech, mostly web-related things. And also sometimes I'm mentoring as well. So yeah, let's start that session. Again, just to remind you that there is two versions of Angular, Angular 1, and which codename AngularJS, and Angular, which they would have called it Angular TS, like TypeScript, But yeah, they decided to call it just Angular. So this doesn't work. Okay. So yeah, today we're talking about Angular evolution, and it started 2016 with the release of Angular, and continuing up until today in 2023. So what is the latest Angular version, guys? 17, right? That's correct. It's been released just a couple of weeks, actually November, yeah, like a couple of weeks back. So a couple of facts about Angular. There is 15 million NPM downloads per month. NPM, are you aware of NPM? NPM is like a package registry every Angular for JavaScript developers. So there is 15 million Angular docs views per month, 300,000 answers on Stack Overflow. I personally answered about more than 100 questions on Stack Overflow. Well, not 100,000, just 100 questions. So yeah, and there is lots of different meetups and communities across various cities globally. So yeah, the Angular community quite big. So who's using Angular? Wow, that's actually at least it's just a tip of an iceberg. For some of you might tell, hey, Why like car manufacturers in this list? Any ideas why?
Internal admin panels,
Which panels?
internal admin sites, or maybe their production website,
Yeah, like you know
their
the
marketing
the
website.
info media control panels.
Really?
Yeah,
Inside the car.
inside those cars,
Wow.
they powered by Angular UI, which means they're probably running like a server or not server, right? Real HTTP server in backend.
In a stripped down browser.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
There is a thread on there is a thread on the net, and someone discovered totally accidentally by just reading the car manual.
Would they find the open source library section?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, also Australian government using Angular. If you ever log into MyGov, it's using Angular. Angular, I think 14 or 15. So for now, yeah. And question for you guys: you're using like different chatbots, right? Are you? So my question to you: which of those chatbots we built with Angular? Any more ideas? Okay. It's a bar. Yeah, it's Google product. Yeah, and any Google product, like 99% built with Angular. So what Angular well known for, right? So it's well known for comprehensive feature set, developers productivity, excellent tooling, mature ecosystem, predictable release cycles, stability and support, and awesome community. So speaking about feature set, it's component-based architecture. So everything like the component is a minimum building block in Angular. Dependency injection, someone who familiar with C#, Java, so you have the same mechanism in those languages. Dependency injection and reactivity powered by signals. This is quite new thing. I demonstrated to you today. Signals, it's anyone heard of signals? It's not new thing. It's came from other frameworks and other. It has its own history. Actually, interestingly, that one of those Angular original team members back in 2015, when they playing a new Angular, they throw this idea, hey, let's use signals. But no one listened to them. And so, yeah, and you know, it's interesting. Like, I mean, if you're building a new thing, like a new framework, you cannot get everything right? So, but if you get a couple of things right, which is this is great, but later you catch up, and so they catching up with signals. Now it's kind of like a built-in reactivity. So signals allows you to it's like a glue layer between template and class, so you can actually easily and intuitively pass your your data to template without thinking about change detection, about thinking about all this weird stuff. So it just works. If value changed here, there is 100% like get updated in template. No performance issues. Like it works very, very performant.
So can I ask?
Yep.
Is it so RxJS is generally used quite heavily in Angular land.
Yep.
Does it reduce the reliance on
Yes,
RxJS?
exactly. It is not the point here is, and it's a good point. It's not replacing RxJS. It just makes you rely on less on RxJS, right? So for many use cases, you wouldn't even need RxJS now. But if you, I mean, for some cases, okay, let's put it this way. For about, say, 60% of use cases, you wouldn't need RxJS.
Yeah.
But if you build something like really complex, talking to multiple APIs, wanna.
Its original purpose, what RxJS
Yeah, exactly.
is designed
If
for,
you're
right?
working with asynchronous events, then probably you wanna bring RxJS, but otherwise you wouldn't care about it. And it makes lots of sense for newcomers.
Mhm.
It's like one less concepts to learn.
And it's a big concept.
And
RxJS
it's
is
exactly,
yeah.
so Angular was relying on that like a lot, right? And now you can just learn it later if you need, yeah, which makes total difference as a learning curve.
Yeah.
So TypeScript, there was lots of criticism for Angular using TypeScript like 6 years ago, maybe definitely 7 years ago. But for recent years, like everyone using TypeScript now, right? So yeah, they done it right. build system powered by Angular CLI. So Angular CLI is a node package. You just install it from NPM globally. If you attend the workshop today, I'll show you that. So which is great. You don't have to think about how to set up a build chain, how to bundle, how to produce production build. No way you have to think about it. Everything handled for you by Angular CLI, which is great. You just think how you compose your components together, how you talk into API, how you draw your data. That's all. That's all what you're caring about using Angular. And yeah, there's lots of developer ergonomics like Angular DevTools and debugging API and lots of other things. Some built into IDE, like if you're using, say, WebStorm, there is support there. And they recently released with version 2023.3, they released a support for Angular 17 for a new template syntax, which I demonstrate later. And if you're using VS Code, you just install a plugin which gives you a support for Angular features in your VS Code. And yeah, automatic migration is another big thing because Angular it's a forward-thinking framework, the forward-thinking company, Google, right, back that, and the forward-thinking team. So they think how they bring the community, the ecosystem forward. And for that, they introducing automatic migrations. Yeah, of course, if you do migrations, it doesn't mean you 100% safe from edge cases. There will be some edge cases if you migrate, but it solves like a lot, like 80%. It will, like, say, if you want to migrate to latest API, if you're sitting on a big code base, you run migrations, it will help you maybe 80%, 90%, and then you just solve the rest by hand, which is great. Like, it's not bad at all. Other frameworks doesn't offer that at all, right? So which is a good feature of Angular. And yeah, guidelines, style guide, we touch on that later on today. It means that every Angular developer follows the same path, the same paradigm, the same approaching Angular application similarly. So if I build my application and then someone of you join, or way around, if you build and I join, the difference will only be there. Probably both of us, we would solve we would organize our data flow differently. Maybe you use signals or RxJS, or maybe you use NGRX or NGXS, this state management library. That would be the difference. The state management piece, that's only thing might be different in our applications. All the rest would look the same, which means that it's easy for me to join your project or for you to join my project, right? So
does that mean that the style guide is strictly enforced?
It's not like enforced, but you would follow it natively.
It comes with a tooling, right?
Yes,
so
it
you
comes.
use the Angular tool,
Yep,
and it'll
yep.
just do it for
Yeah,
you.
you might want to follow it 100%, but lots of things you just do it intuitively. Yeah.
It drives me nuts in Python. People don't follow it by write else
Right.
in spite of the fact that the IDE has syntax highlight.
Yeah. And if everyone follows the same pattern, it means migrations is very easy because it's kind of like the same code is easy to migrate it. Otherwise, if you would write different code. But with version 17, actually, it opens lots of new possibilities, and I think it would be harder to migrate because it opens lots of new kind of things. I wouldn't do those things, but some people are already like, oh, we can do functions. Let's do functions. Let's do everything in functions. Like, okay, good luck.
Lex, do you mind if we interrupt with
Yeah,
questions?
easy. Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask one
Yeah,
question? Does that integrate with Prettier as well? Like,
Yeah, it has.
file formatting,
It has
or-
pretty. I think I'm not sure if it is built in. I think you have to build your own configuration. Yeah,
but it works alongside.
It works. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the support and policy schedule. You got this paper with you guys. So 6 months is active development. So currently we at the Angular 17 cycle, which means for the next 6 months it will be in active development, and then within by the end of these 6 months we will see Angular 18 dropped, right? However, Angular 17 will continue LTS for next 12 months, right? So this gives you a lot of time to think and migrate. And the LTS period for Angular 17 will end in May 15, 2025. So currently supported versions as per this file. And here unsupported versions or discontinued versions, which means if you run in any of those, yeah, you might want to consider to upgrade. Usually you won't jump from 14 to 17. You would actually gradually upgrade to 15 using migration, 16 and 17. I mean, you can, but it's not great practice because of schematics built into every Angular version, right? So you want to apply, if you're on 14, you want to apply 15 schematics. If you're on 15, you want to apply 16 schematics, right? That's how it works.
Like a database migration, right? You generally have a series of steps.
Yeah, it's pretty much similar to that. Yeah, similar to that. So yeah, and it's new features. It's not breaking change, but how you have lots of time to migrate, right? They give you like lots of time to think and onboard these new features, and schematics helps you with that. So we come into the Angular 17 now. What are the 17 features? So first of all, the new branding. Actually, I have this T-shirt. It's only one T-shirt in Australia. So and on workshop, we will see who gonna own it. One of you gonna own it. And that's the new branding. This is a new Angular logo. I also have Angular Rocks T-shirt. Also, we will see who gonna own it during the workshop. So Angular Rocks is a podcast about Angular.
Is there a combination for the T-shirt?
We will, yeah. I'll think about it. Like we will figure out.
In the middle of the room.
It's definitely if you want to do that.
Video camera up. That'll be gold on social media.
It's a good idea. But yeah, we will think maybe like a small quiz or something like that. So the new website, actually, this is a third new website. For AngularJS, it's angularjs.org, which is discontinued. For Angular, below Angular 17, angular.io. And for Angular 17, it's angular.dev. Yeah, lots of framework improvements. We'll go through them soon, and lots of enhancement in developer experience. And yeah, it's everything backwards compatible. So yeah, that's the new branding. Do you like it? What do you think?
I like it. I think they did well with that.
It's kind of looks like modern, right? Yeah, yeah.
All I can see is the Adobe logo.
Totally.
I feel like that's the exact same typeface I believe.
Right, yeah. Okay.
If you haven't looked at the angular.dev website, it is incredible.
Yes,
it is an amazing website.
Yeah, it's like super cool one. Yeah. I think they still not allow for search engine to crawl the website. It's in a beta version. So you won't Google if you Google, it won't appear in the search results. But if you go there and hit search bar, if you want to search for something particular, you just hit find icon within the Angular Dev website, and you can do the search this way. So once they get out of the beta, then they will allow discover. Then they will make it discoverable through Google. So what are the framework improvements? So first of all, it's inbuilt brand new control flow. That is something super cool. I was talking in May about Angular 16 and kind of revealing this new control flow, assuming, and all the community will assume that it will be similar to like Svelte and handlebars sort of styling, like curly braces, double curly braces. But in the end, they come up with something totally different. I'll show you that in a second. Yeah, now you can lazy load anything, really anything you want, you can lazy load in your application. Not just routes, but if you want to go granular, like services or components or piece of HTML, you can do that now, which is super cool.
That means like if you've got a page constructed of multiple components, you could lazy load parts of the page
Yeah,
instead of the entire page.
Yeah, exactly. And there is this interesting thing called defer. I'll show you that today. Yeah, you can leverage that. So with transition API, which means when you switching from one view to another view, from one page to another page, you can leverage a view transition API, which is browser natively supporting the API transitions now. And so Angular leverage just that. New lifecycle hooks, like after render, I think is one. After render and next to render, these two new lifecycle hooks they introduced. You would use those like lifecycle hooks within constructor, because other hooks you would use you just kind of as a function you put a function on your component. With those new two, you use it within constructor because they rely on dependency injection context. That's makes them a little different from other lifecycle hooks. And built-in reactivity powered by signals. I'll also demonstrate you that now. So if you scan that, if you want, you should be able to land in web and Stack Blitz. I think the same link you might have here. No, there is actually, I haven't put that link here. There is no on this sheet. But if you scan that, if you want, at the same time, I'll show you that. While you're doing that, I'll grab something to drink.
You are using a computer.
Well, it is exactly.
But my mobile phone is not on. It's coming from the RS.
So just remind us, like I think we started a bit late, but we have say 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes to go. Okay, great.
No pressure.
I spent 5 minutes on that demo, maybe 2 minutes, and then we continue with the slides. So that's the demo right here. That's what you see on your screens. So this is main TS file. That's not the way you build a production Angular application. Everything in one file. It's not good, but for demo purposes, it's good for demo purposes only. So I have everything in this one file. So a couple of things here, like signals, right? So you can see if you scroll down, there is like a class, app class, where defining a number of things, and the measure is a signal, right? So signal is like an object which holds a value, and this value you can change, and you can do anything with that value, and it's always reflect on your template. And here I have that actually go a little bit. Yeah, right. So this is just stupid signal. There is a clever signal here in counter service. So this is just a normal service class where I define in my signal, right? This is just a counter. So, and two functions, increment and decrement, right? And then I'm injecting that service within my main app class. And here we go. I can increase and decrease. And if I use the same class within other component, so any change of that value will bring change on the screen, right? So everyone using the same counter, every screen using the same counter will get updated with a recent value. So who familiar with ArcGIS, you would do that before using behavior subject. So now you don't have to do that. Now you just use signals for that. So control flow, that's it. If else, like, can it get easier than that? Like,
So that's an annotation inside the HTML.
yes,
template?
yes, it is. Yeah, and it's super easy to read. Like, even any beginner can get her head around it pretty quick. Switch case, same thing. Also, it supports default, so you have to put less code in your template. Like, it's super intuitive, right? And then, for loop, new for loop. You just do it this way now. And the fourth thing, that's a super cool. This where you decide how you want to lazy load the parts of your component or your page, and you can put different conditions. You can put like, okay, once someone start interacting with a button, then you do that. Then you load. Then you display world. But here you can put like display this component or do this, do that. You can do anything. This is just a condition. While someone interacting with this button, right? Imagine that. So if no one would interact with that button, this wouldn't even get loaded, right? Which means super high performance improvement here. And so you can set, okay, if someone hover on this button, do that, right? And within that example, you can play around, click. So once you click, it's loaded world. Once you hover over, it should do something. I think it's already done that. And this is timer for 5 seconds. You can even time things, right? If you want something to be loaded 5 seconds after page load. You can do that as well. And there's lots of things there, and also it's supporting placeholder, which also configurable. So you can actually set the minimum delay on the placeholder. Which is,
Does that mean so anything inside that deferred block is basically bundle split and it will get loaded remotely from the server at that time, or
actually, this is super good question. I cannot answer this at the moment. I haven't just played with that as much, but my feeling that it is, I'm feeling that it, yeah, I have to answer that later. I cannot answer that. Any ideas?
Show the network tab.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's the best way to do that, but let's do it later because we are a little bit running out of time. So we then continue on the rest of the slides. So what else improved in Angular? Improved server-side rendering. So now you don't have to spend lots of time. And it wasn't so bad in the recent versions. Anyway, personally, I'm using SSR for like last 6 years, and I see how it gets improved over the years. But now it's even simpler. Now you don't have to install any separate packages. You just enable it within the framework, and it's there for you. Yes, how easy it gets. New build system based on AS build. Anyone heard of AS build? AS build is kind of like a Webpack, but a new way of bundling web applications. And I think it's capable not just bundling the web applications, it's just capable of doing lots of other things. White is a development server, so super powerful. It's built by Vue.js community. Anyone heard of Vue.js? White is actually their invention. The actually original Vue.js developer invented White, and now Angular kind of let's based on community feedback decided to use that. So which means that in latest version there is no what was a Webpack. There is no Webpack there. It's gone. Yeah. So better user testing experience. So yeah, I think I already said that. Yeah, I said that as well. So speaking about user testing, Jest support, and web test runner. So you can, I think both of these features opt in. You have to enable them within configuration. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the features. Definitely check out angular.dev website. So how Angular team know how to improve? They're running I think frequently every 6 months, or every 6 months, they're running a kind of questionnaire like that, asking a developer feedback, and then they put it into abracadabra charts like that. And so that's why they decide what to improve based on feedback, right? So they can see clearly what's other strengths and what opportunities to improve based on the data. They're just using data.
So you said it's quarterly surveys that they're on?
Yeah, I think it's quarterly survey. Yeah. And there is also discussions on GitHub, so you always can join, or just randomly go there and read up what's going on. There's a discussion there. So how to keep up with updates is a good question. So there is a couple of strategies, 3, I think of 3 usually. Incremental, hybrid, and full rewrite. Full rewrite for those who stay very behind, say 10 versions behind, or AngularJS. It's definitely full rewrite, So yeah, you got that QR code if you want to read about it. It's on my blog. So yeah, speaking about the future, there is lots of things which Angular brings to the table for businesses, for long-term strategy, and also for developers. So when speaking about the businesses, it brings scalability, productivity for the developer team, modularity, all these cool things which businesses love, and it makes it easier to plan ahead and to be innovative. So yeah, there is a QR code on that blog post as well, on this sheet. You can scan it later if you want to read more. And yeah, Angular 17 good for developers because it allows you to build simpler apps. It bringing to the table a dynamic API, super simple, everyone can understand. So you are maintaining minimal boilerplate. There is no modules any longer. I think some of you who've been exposed to Angular, there was ng modules. You can still use ng modules today, but there is no need for that. So yeah, that makes you to maintain minimal tech debt. And yeah, super great developer experience. If you using WebStorm, you get it by default. If you're using VS Code, you have to bring the extension, just 1 or 2 extensions there. And yeah, if you're interested in learning Angular or you're using another framework, or if you're looking for front-end framework options, always get into Angular, go to angular.dev. If you want to learn about Angular Greenfield development guide, it's also the code here in that sheet. You can read it later. If you are already using Angular, you definitely need to, and if you stay in behind 17 version, you definitely have to migrate at some point. There is a link here in the sheet. You just count that and upgrade tips blog post. And yeah, get in touch if you have any questions. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And if your company using Angular, if you need any help, I'm always open for new opportunities and helping companies and developer teams to build better Angular applications. And that's pretty much it, guys. Looking forward to see some of you on workshop, where we dig a little bit deeper into how you start with Angular, using Angular CLI. All right,
Thanks.
great. Thanks, guys.